Hi folks, I'm Raz and today's lesson is about PTE Academic Speaking. Question 3, Describe Image. PTE Describe Image question type is the third prompt type in the real PTE exam, which tests your ability of how well you describe the key points of the image in a short period. Now here you can take a look at my score report where I scored 74 points out of 90, which is equivalent to 7.5 bands in IELTS. And here let me share with you my experience and the tips and tricks that can help you score a good band. How we convert the PT score to IELTS is if you score 86 and above, it's a 9 band. If you score 83 to 85, it's 8.5. 79 to 82 is 8 band. 73 to 78 is 7.5 band, and the list goes on. In PT speaking, we have total 5 tasks between 27 to 43 minutes. Task 1 is read aloud. Task 2 is repeat sentence, which I discussed in my earlier videos. Task 3 is describe image. Task 4 is retell lecture. And task 5 is answer a short question. And friends, in this video, we'll practice describe image task 3. Now, describe image allows 25 seconds time to prepare, and you need to jot down the key points from the given image. And then once the beep sound plays, you have to start describing the image for 40 seconds. It is quite chaotic if you're not very well prepared with the structure of describing an image properly. And make sure that you answer within 3 seconds of the beep. Now in PT exam, you'll encounter different types of PT describe images such as bar graph, line graph, table, maps, pie chart, flowchart diagram, and Venn diagram. A total of 6 different images will be asked during PT exam. The description of any image or thing is only completed when it has 3 ingredients. First is introductory statement, second key highlight point, and third is the conclusion. Now let's take a look at a sample introductory sentence. You can start your describe image by saying the given type of graph. Example, bar graph represents or shows or depicts. These are the different words. Title and then X and Y axis if it's a bar graph or line graph, or what the image is about. Now adding the key idea of an image, so compare the highest and the lowest point or the trend of the graph or chart and quantity of each other. You can just include 1 or 2 key points where say the highlighting the graph. It's not important to mention all the points. Last is conclude the graph or image with the overall trend or the future trend by assuming from the graph. Don't worry if you're assuming wrong, then you will not lose mark. It is just the algorithm that requires the conclusion of the image. The conclusion can be of 6 to 7 seconds when you describe image. Now let's take a look at the tips and tricks. The first is avoid umming and ahhing while speaking. This will reduce your oral fluency and overall marks. Remember to avoid grammatical mistakes while forming the sentence. Practice the speaking in below format. 10 seconds for introduction, 20 seconds for highlighting key points, 6 seconds for conclusion. Don't try to speak for full 40 seconds, stop before the 36 seconds, because if you extend your speaking for 40 seconds, then you might miss the conclusion and lose the marks. After completion of the introduction, the next step is to explain the highlighting factor of the graph. You can go to the highest factor and the changing trends within the years mentioned. If you see any constant factor, the lowest factor in the image, you can explain that too. But try to explain it within 20 seconds. Remember, speaking in fluency and pronunciation is equal to success. Now let's take a look at a few graphs and do some practice. And let me share an idle answer. The graph delineates information about two different kinds of needs models. As we can see from the left-hand side, the needs can be divided into three kinds, which are status needs, stimulation needs, and security needs. However, on the right-hand side, we can see from the top to the bottom, there are five kinds of needs, which are self-actualization needs, self-esteem needs, belonging, safety, and psychological needs. Specifically, safety needs mean freedom from fear, and belonging needs mean friends, family, and love. In conclusion, the two models are similar in showing humans different kinds of needs. Now the next is a line graph. The line graph shows changes in the price of fresh fruits and vegetables, sugar and sweets, and carbonated drinks over a 30-year period in the US. The graph also shows the general trend in the consumer price index during this time. The consumer price index and prices of sugar showed a steady increase from 1979 to 2009, whereas the rise in the price of carbonated drinks is prolonged. In contrast, price of fresh fruits and vegetables, despite periodic fluctuations, rose sharply. To conclude, we can say that overall inflation has increased in the last 3 decades. Moving on to the pie chart about average household expenditure by major category, 1950 and 2010. The two pie charts compare the average household expenditure on several goods and services in 1950 and 2010. In 1950, an overwhelming portion of the expenditure went on for housing, and after 6 decades, expenditure on food has soared significantly. Apart from food, transportation expenses had increased drastically by roughly 3 times, from only 3.3% in 1950 to 14% in 2010. In contrast, there was a slight increase in the expenditures on healthcare. In summary, the expenditure nature of people had changed significantly in 2010 than had been in 1950. Now this is a diagram of a life cycle of a frog. The diagram illustrates the various stages in the life of a frog. The common frog undergoes many physical changes over the course of its life. The life cycle of the frog begins with the mating of frog, and it leads their females to lay eggs on the pond. Each frog spawn hatches and small tadpole emerges with a tiny body and a tail. Gradually their tail disappears and their legs start to appear. To sum up, from egg to a fully grown adult, the common frog experiences a number of radical physical changes. Now this is a table that gives information about consumer spending in different items in 5 different countries in 2012. Table shows the proportion of national expenditure of 5 countries in 3 different categories: food, clothing, and education in 2002. In terms of food, drinks, tobacco, and education leisure, Turkey spent the most, while in terms of clothing and footwear, Italy spent the most. Overall, all countries, Spain, Sweden, Turkey, Italy, Ireland, spent most on food, drinks, tobacco, and lowest expenditure was on leisure and education. Thank you so much, friends, for watching this video, and keep watching more PTE academic videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.